All right, so this week we're going to start off with a little segment I like to call All-Time Favorite Movie. And because we're in the Halloween spirit,
Ernest Scared Stupid.
we're going to do Ernest Scared Stupid, one of the best Ernest movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It really is.
made in it was actually produced in 1993. It made over $900 million worldwide, John. That's a little unknown fact.
Do you really know that?
No, just joking. No, we're not gonna do Ernest Scared Stupid. That's for another day, John. That's for
Uh-huh.
another day. No, this week we're gonna do one of our all-time favorite movies, a little movie called Halloween.
Never seen it.
Never seen it. Ah, shit. Maybe I shouldn't have picked this movie then. Of course you have, John. Everybody's seen Halloween.
This went the Rob Zombie one, right?
No, I'm talking about the original 1978 Halloween, directed by John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. Starred Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, and a bunch of other unknown actors.
That's funny for some reason.
It actually it was released on October 25th, John, of 1978. It was a low budget film. At the time, it was actually the highest grossing film in terms of what it cost to what it made. It estimated cost was between $300,000 to $325,000, and it went off to make $70 million in the box office. So it was one of the most profitable films in history.
Yeah, they made it really cheap and made a lot of money.
And that's it. That's all I have to say.
All right.
All right.
We'll see. No, she's gonna.
Nah. So
What happened? What
I don't know.
happened?
I don't know. Okay. My enthusiasm.
We're having technical.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
That's all right. I think it's fine.
Jamie.
My
Can you fix this?
my enthusiasm. Jamie, our sound engineer, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Who we haven't seen him around. He hasn't come around. Our sound engineer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit into the details.
He wants to get paid, and I said no.
Yeah, that's I think that's what happened. The little details, John.
Doing it for the
For people-
experience.
For people who have never seen this movie, and if you've never seen this movie, I don't know why you clicked on a link titled Halloween, but that's your thing. So, movie opens in 1963 on Halloween night in a little town called Haddonfield, Illinois. And 6-year-old Michael
Is that
Myers.
a real town?
No, it's not real.
Okay.
6-year-old Michael Myers stabs his older sister Judith to death, and he is sent out to Smith's Grove's insane asylum. I don't know if it's insane asylum, but
Very poorly ran.
very poorly ran. Because 15 years later, Michael Myers escapes, and his psychiatrist, Dr. Samuel Loomis, goes after him, and he knows where he's going. He's going back to Haddonfield. You know what? It's one of those funny things, right? Like how does Loomis knows? Like he doesn't know because Michael doesn't talk. He said he hasn't talked in the 15 years he's been there. So how the fuck does Dr. Loomis knows that Michael Myers?
He's like, I know where he's going.
It's like instinctual. So Michael does go back to Haddonfield. Dr. Loomis gets that guess correct, and he starts stalking some high school students.
I mean, I've done that.
And one of them being Laurie Strode.
We've been there.
Laurie
We've all
Strode,
been there.
played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and her two best friends, the sluts known as Annie Brackett and Linda Van der Klock. They are right, like they're just having promiscuous
yeah.
teenage sex, John. Like they're drinking, doing the pot.
They're pretty hoary.
And Laurie Strode's at home studying away, making sure she's getting straight A's and not doing any of that. Although she does smoke pot, John. She's bad influence, her friends.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know what? It wasn't legal back then anywhere.
Yeah. So
Yeesh.
what she did is she broke the law, John. That's what she did.
Yeah.
During
That's
the
why-
day, too.
That's why
Michael Myers goes after her.
I say you shouldn't let your kids watch the movie.
Is that the reason?
That's the only reason.
Because Laurie
Yeah.
succumbs to the pot.
She is seduced by the evilness that is marijuana.
Yeah. So maybe she needs to.
That's actually what the movie's really about.
The horrors of the pot.
Mm-hmm. I think that's like the message.
You think that's the message?
I think that's what the movie's really trying to say.
It's trying to say that.
Yeah, if you smoke pot, someone's gonna try to kill you forever.
So.
Or you're gonna think that.
No, so regardless of what the movie's about, Michael Myers stalks these 3 young ladies on Halloween night, and he kills all of
young ladies
out of Laurie's friends and
whores
and their boyfriends and a dog. He kills a dog on that night, John.
Yeah.
So he kills both her friends and one of the boyfriends of the friends. He kills a doggy.
By the way, I'm not just calling them whores because they're whores because they just in the movie they're whores. They're very hoary.
And so is, by the way, the men that they're having sex with. Actually, only one of them is because the other one doesn't have sex. The Annie, the one in or Linda. I'm sorry, in Linda.
She's trying, isn't she?
She's trying hard, but she doesn't get to, John.
She's walking around in her panties.
That is a weird. Yeah, we were watching it the other day together, and she does just walk out of the house in her panties. Like, I mean, she's wearing a shirt.
I mean, okay.
I guess it's like
if that was your daughter,
I would not let her walk out.
You're like, she's like, bye. I'm like, you're in your panties. Like, come on.
Granted, her pants were in the wash, so. What did she spill on it? Like,
I don't know.
Wine or popcorn?
I don't know. She's a high school teenager. She's probably booze.
I forgot what she spilled on it.
I don't remember.
Yeah, she's on the phone, right? She spilled something on her. She spilled something on her shirt that requires washing, so she takes off all her clothes.
Come.
It requires her to wash her clothes, and I'm gonna have to put like a tag on this video. Not appropriate for maybe it is appropriate for kids because they need to hear that first part that kids pot is bad because if you do pot, a mass psychopath's gonna come after you, and that's the lesson that you want to take away.
They just feel pot and cum.
So we see Michael kill Laurie's friends over the course of Halloween night, and he gets
it's so casual.
Go ahead.
So he kills her friends,
and Dr. Loomis puts like six bullets into him, right? Like he unloads his gun.
Well, don't ruin the movie, Matt.
Like he unloads his 6 revolver into Michael Myers' chest.
He hits him in the face too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he does shoot him in the face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like first, Laurie like just stabs him with a knitting needle.
I was gonna say like the world's biggest, oldest knitting needle.
Like, in the neck.
Yeah,
in the neck.
And he just falls.
He
like,
falls
in a
down.
Weird way.
Yeah, in a weird way. And then she stabs him with a hanger in the eye.
Dude, she's like so good with like the dumbest, weirdest shit.
Yeah. And then Dr. Loomis comes stumbling up the stairs. I'm surprised he doesn't shoot himself.
He's like my psychiatrist who carries a gun too.
He carries the biggest 6 revolver I've ever seen. Like he's carrying like Dirty Harry's gun, right?
Yeah.
Just unloads his whole 6 bullets into Michael Myers, and he falls on the ground.
Oh.
And then at the end, he's not there anymore, and he's everywhere, John. Everywhere.
You gotta pay for it if you hum the song.
You do, so please, we don't
want
to blow the whole yearly budget on that little the little tune, John.
Is that true?
What?
If I just were to go dun 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 dun. But I got it wrong, but I'm saying if I were to do it.
If you were to do it, we would have to pay for it.
A good thing I'm bad at it, and they would never be able to prove it.
Yeah, they would have to track it down. They would have to have like their
It goes exactly like that.
So the movie ends with Michael Myers everywhere. That is a cool ending shot, right? He shows everywhere he's been, but he's not there anymore. But that's the fear, right? He's everywhere.
Right.
Um.
No, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's rewind back.
I was gonna say, now that we've ruined the fucking movie.
Let's rewind back and talk a little bit more. So, did you know, John, that the screenplay took 10 days to write?
Really
Yes.
interesting.
So, John Carpenter made
I would have done it in 8. Cocky. And
Hey,
shit.
did you hear? For the sequel, John Carpenter wrote that over a few nights, drunk. He drank a couple, 6-pack of Coors Light, and I think he said he wrote it over one night or something like that. But I think it took him a few nights. But yeah.
That's whatever.
So-
Aaron Sorkin wrote The West Wing.
No, so John Carpenter in 1976 made this movie called Assault on Precinct 13. Have you ever seen that one?
What the original?
Yeah.
No, I never saw the original.
Yeah. So it's pretty good if you ever want to see a good 70s
Yeah,
action
I hear
movie.
it's good.
So after he made that, there's two producers, actually
Mhm.
one producer and one financier, essentially one rich guy. So there's a producer named Erwin Yablans and a financier named Mustafa Akkad, who's been the guy who's pretty much bankrolled most of the Halloween movies. They saw the movie at a film festival, the movie Assault on Precinct 13, and they talked to Carpenter because they wanted him to direct a film about a psychotic killer that stalked babysitters.
Okay.
So
We've all been there.
in an interview, the film producer Yablans, he said, I was thinking what would make sense in the horror genre, and what I wanted to do was make a picture that had the same impact as The Exorcist. So Carpenter agreed to film.
It's quite ambitious.
He agreed to direct the film if he would have full creative control, and he was paid $10,000 for his work, and that included writing, directing, and scoring the film. So he's the one who came up with that very iconic.
You're talking about Carpenter?
John Carpenter.
Did he did make more after that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So him and his then girlfriend Deborah Hill, they wrote a draft of the story. Do you know what Halloween was originally titled?
No idea.
It was originally titled The Babysitter Murders.
That's cool.
So,
But there wasn't enough of them to do that.
yeah. So Yablans, the film producer, suggested changing the setting of the movie to Halloween night and naming it Halloween instead.
Okay.
So Carpenter agreed. And actually, he was surprised because he thought there must have been a movie named Halloween before then, and there wasn't.
Okay.
So he said, well, the basic concept, Halloween nights, as Carpenter said, Halloween night. It was never been the theme in a film. My idea was to do an old haunted house film.
Right.
And you know what? On researching this film, as something I had
So
never.
They were boyfriend and girlfriend. Deborah Hill.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Okay.
During this time, they've broken up a little bit after that. But during this time, they had been dating.
She left him for Michael Myers.
But you know, an interesting thing
So
happened. An
stupid.
interesting thing I found out. I've never heard about this. While I was researching for this podcast, John, and I've thought I've read pretty much everything there is to, out there about Halloween.
Yeah, because that's normal.
What?
What you just said.
What?
I think I've read everything there is about Halloween.
What do you mean?
Just
Why is
saying.
that?
I'm just
Are you trying to say it's not normal, John?
Nah. Just kidding. I just read about Arbor Day. Ask me anything about Arbor Day.
Arbor Day?
Anything. Ask me anything.
Okay, when is Arbor Day, John?
I don't know. I read it. Read everything there is. I don't remember anything.
Oh, you just don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
I think I said I knew it, but now I'm going to say I read it.
Okay.
Ask me something else.
About Arbor Day?
Yeah.
Okay, who came up with the idea of Arbor Day?
I have no idea.
What do we celebrate on Arbor Day? Do you know?
No. See? Nailed it. So that's it's a good movie, though. It is a good movie. It's a very, 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 very good movie. Even though we talked about how bad the acting is.
Also, let's get into that, right? So, obviously, John Carpenter, he was doing a movie about babysitters, right? Is that funny?
It's just, I don't know.
Well, you find the concept of babysitters funny, John?
My mind's already going to like Pornhub. I know this was like 1978.
When Pornhub was thriving.
And Pornhub was just barely starting.
Just thriving.
Yeah.
Thriving.
It was all farmland.
Thriving industry. No, so he obviously hired a bunch of young kids because he needed them all to be teenagers.
Unpaid?
Unpaid. No, he paid all of them. Why would he have paid all of them?
Nah, just they don't. They're just saying, there's a minimum, right? You got to pay people, like for movies.
If they're part of SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild, which is the union that Hollywood follows.
What if they're all first time?
Doesn't matter.
Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
So
if you're filming a union film, which if you're working out of Hollywood, Hollywood studio, and you're working with these unions, you have to pay them. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
I thought they were just gonna do like the Nike model.
What do you mean?
The way they pay their employees.
Well, I mean, it's different when you're in a different country.
Yeah.
No, so where I was going with that, John, is he has a bunch of young actors, and yeah, I mean, it's a small budget, so he's not gonna be able to get the best actors. So the acting's gonna suffer a little bit, and even to be fair, the dialogue isn't the best, but it works for this movie, right?
Yeah,
like it completely works. Like it's even if you recognize. Like, in reality, the only real classical actor, the one who really had training, you can tell, is Donald Pleasence in the whole movie. The only actor in the whole movie that you can say, okay, this guy's an actor, you know.
Right.
Even though he had ridiculous lines, his readings were really interesting.
Ridiculous character.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, no, he's essential to the movie.
Okay, so going back to the actors, do you know who was the highest paid actor on the film?
Maybe him.
So Donald Pleasence was the highest paid. Do you know how much? Try to guess how much he got paid. Remember, this is a $300,000 to $325,000 budget.
20,000.
He got paid $20,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I did not look that up.
Jamie Lee Curtis, how much do you think she got?
5,000.
She earned $8,000. And Nick Castle, do you know who Nick Castle is?
No.
He's the guy who plays Michael Myers. He's the one in like the body.
Ew.
How much do you think he got paid?
5,000.
He got paid $25 a day.
Hey, but how many days? Divide that by 5,000.
Oh, you know what? To be fair, he didn't really have to. He didn't have to really memorize any lines.
Yeah. By any, you mean zero?
0 lines. Although he does have to go when he got shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that must have
And
kept him up days, John.
They show his face.
Oh yeah, did they show his face? That was him.
Yeah, it was right.
Yeah. Did you know he came back to play Michael Myers again in the new Halloween?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, he came back.
How old is he?
In his 60s, probably 60s, 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They should have paid him more than $26 a day. You gotta account for inflation.
Well, it's crazy, right? So Donald Pleasence got 20,000. Carpenter only got 10,000, and he directed, wrote, and did the score.
Yeah.
But granted, Donald Pleasence had been in Hollywood, a lot longer. So I guess that's what he got.
Right. He's such a bad psychiatrist.
So did you know the role of Dr. Loomis was originally intended for Peter Cushing? Do you know who Peter Cushing is?
No. Maybe I saw him.
He played Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars. He's the general. Remember they
I know who he is. Yeah. I got him.
Yeah. So his agent rejected the offer.
Didn't he get strangled? like with the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing, like
Yeah.
with
The
invisible,
Force.
the invisible strangle
The
by
Force.
Darth Vader.
So Cushion's agent, he rejected the offer due to it being too low. The salary was way too low. So Christopher Lee, do you know who Christopher Lee is?
No, but what? Maybe if I saw him again.
He was known for horror movies, and he was in the Lord of the Rings movies. He was approached for the role. He turned it down too.
Okay.
And Christopher Lee said later on that he would tell Carpenter and Hill that declining that role was the biggest mistake he made during his career. So after being turned down,
This was to play the
Dr. Loomis. Yeah, Dr. Loomis.
Okay.
So after being rejected by both these actors, the producer suggested Pleasance, who agreed. Pleasance agreed to star because his daughter Lucy, a guitarist, had enjoyed Assault on Precinct 13 because of Carpenter's score.
Oh.
So
Cool.
So in casting Jamie Lee Curtis, Carpenter admits that Jamie Lee wasn't the first choice for Laurie. He said that he had no idea who she was. So when Jamie Lee Curtis made this film, she was 19 years old, and it was in a TV show at the time. But Carpenter didn't watch TV, so he had no idea who she was.
What TV show?
She was, I don't know.
Something that probably nobody watched ever.
Yeah. But as you know, John, you probably know this. Jamie Lee Curtis comes from some acting royalty. She is the daughter of, do you know?
No.
Janet Leigh, who was the star of Psycho.
Oh.
And Tony
Okay.
Curtis, the actor Tony Curtis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know the name Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And everybody knows the chick from Psycho. Like
Yeah,
even if you don't know her name.
Yeah, Janet Leigh. So she's the daughter of Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis.
Cool.
Hence Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that connection, don't you?
Yeah.
So
It's like, they're like the Baldwins and the. What are the other ones?
the Baldwins,
The-
the great Baldwin family acting
Yeah.
legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy's my favorite.
So Deborah Hill says once they learned that Jamie Lee was the daughter of Psycho actress Janet Leigh, she said, "I knew casting Jamie Lee would be great publicity for the film because her mother was in Psycho." So Curtis was cast in the part, though she initially had reservations that she felt she identified more
Reservations where?
she felt that she
They
identified
messed
more.
up my reservations so
She
many
felt
times.
she identified more with
I'm
the
just
other.
going to be so obnoxious right now.
She felt she identified more with the other female characters. She said, "I was very much a smart aleck and was a cheerleader in high school. So I felt very concerned that I was being considered for the quiet, repressed young woman when in fact I was very much like the other two girls." So she was saying she was a whore, John. That's what she's trying to say.
I'm a whore. I'm
Yeah.
a whore. Oh, my.
So
trying to sell herself. I'm saying sell herself on the part. Oh, man.
Hey, so a fun little trivia, John. You know PJ Soles, who played Linda, one of her friends, the one that has sex with her boyfriend in the film, the one who's smoking cigarette.
The blonde?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you know that when she was making this film, she was married to? You want to guess what actor?
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland. She was. No,
Shut
I'm
up.
just joking.
Oh, I was
No.
like, dude, I'm just guessing now. Like,
Nah. She actually at the time she was married to actor Dennis Quaid,
that's funny.
and
That's not that far off.
and he was considered for the role of Bob Sims, Linda's character's boyfriend in the film, but he was unable to perform the role due to prior work commitments.
Was she married to Dennis Quaid or Randy Quaid?
Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
No, not Randy Quaid. So as I said earlier, Nick Cassos, he played Michael Myers. He had become friends with Carpenter while they attended USC together. So did you know that Nick Castle went on to actually become a director himself?
No.
So Michael Myers himself, he went on to direct films with the likes of The Last Starfighter, The Boy Who Can Fly, Dennis the Menace, and Major Payne.
Those are all amazing movies.
Amazing movies. He went on to become an amazing,
Mhm.
amazing director.
Yeah. Probably trips over his Oscars every morning.
So let's talk about one of the things that is iconic about the movie. What do you think is the most iconic thing? What would you consider the most iconic thing? And we'll talk about it.
The music.
Okay, so that is one, and you're right. I would consider that one as one iconic.
Let's play it.
So for all you musical nerds, we're gonna talk a little bit about the score. So obviously
the
didn't have.
movie?
What do you mean?
Is there a movie called The Score?
No, the score of this film.
There's not a movie.
Lowercase score.
There's not a movie called The Score.
There is a movie called Score, but
Well, let's talk about that for about 20 minutes.
No. So obviously the soundtrack, I mean the budget wasn't there for a big symphonic soundtrack, right? Where you go into a studio, you have a full, symphony, and you have horns and trumpets and violins and
Like the movie Whiplash?
like the movie Whiplash. You don't have a Whiplash score.
Right.
So, as I mentioned earlier, Carpenter was paid $10,000 to direct, write, and score this film. And him having a little bit of musical background, he was willing to do this. So, for all you music nerds or people who are into music,
Same thing.
the film score, John. I don't know if you know much about music. It consists of a piano melody played in a 10/8 or complex 5/4 time signature composed and performed by director John Carpenter himself.
Of course I knew all that.
So he said that the music was actually inspired by Dario Argento's Suspiria and William Friedkin's The Exorcist.
Why do I know that first name? Who's that?
Dario Argento. He is one of the most famous horror directors.
He doesn't have family, right?
He has a daughter named Asia Argento.
Did she get in trouble?
She is recently got
Did she get in
accused
trouble, right?
for sexual.
Yeah, that's why I know that last name.
Yeah. Carpenter took 3 days to compose the entire score for the film. So
I would have done it too.
So John would have probably cut the time of this movie in half, and he's saying the budget would have been like $5.
I would have haggled down $24 a day.
So in addition to the film's critical and commercial success, Carpenter's
no lunch breaks.
Carpenter's self-composed Halloween theme, John, became the one of the most recognizable parts of the film.
Right.
I'm gonna quote James Berardinelli, a film critic. He calls the score relatively simple.
He's so well known.
Relatively simple. He is well known. Actually, well known. Relatively simple.
Learn his name.
And unsophisticated. I know his name. I just can't pronounce it, John. It's a difference. But admits that Halloween's music is one of his strongest assets. Carpenter stated in an interview, "I can play just about any keyboard, but I can't read or write a note."
It's okay. How different are keyboards? I'm being serious.
I don't know. I'm not a music guy.
I mean, like most keyboards look like keyboards to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know there are fancy ones where there's like different like levels and stuff, but I figure you can still play it.
Yeah.
Maybe not as well, or maybe you can't play it like to its potential.
Maybe. I don't know. Just
But,
potential.
like,
I don't know.
But it'd be funny if it was just like ding, bing, bing. And it's like, but you couldn't play it on the other one.
I don't know. I really don't know the difference.
I don't know either.
But pretty much the whole score was done by Carpenter, except for one song. There was a song in the movie, "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult.
Did they use it?
They use it during when Laurie and her friend are driving the car and they're smoking pot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Not for children.
So John, other than the musical score, what's the other most iconic part or thing about
It's the
Halloween?
the mask.
The mask, yes.
You ever have one?
Yes. No, I've never bought a mask, Halloween mask.
I had one.
You had one?
Oh,
You were
yeah.
Michael Myers?
I did. Yeah, I did it a couple times when I
Uh-huh.
was like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you work better because you're tall, so you can play Michael Myers.
Mm.
I'm shorter.
It's just easy. Like you just wear black, and then I get the
just wear overall like a
Yeah.
like a mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can get I had the fake knife. You want to get a little crazy? Just go to the kitchen.
It really is a simple costume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really almost really lazy costume.
And it's like the masks, like they always look good because it's so simple.
Yeah, it's
So it
white,
look- yeah,
right?
yeah.
So let's talk about the mask. So obviously, there wasn't that much, like I mentioned when we were talking about the score. There wasn't much of a budget, John.
Right.
I mean, Carpenter only received $10,000 for writing, directing, and scoring this film. So he's not gonna,
Right.
he's like, you want me to
So
come
you
up with a
want-
wardrobe too?
You want me to play Michael Myers?
So, so obviously it's very low budget. So wardrobe and props, they were often crafted from items that were just there, right? Or they can purchase them pretty cheap.
Right.
So Carpenter, he hired this guy named Tom Lee Wallace. He was going to be the production designer, art director, location scout, and co-editor of the film. So Wallace created the trademark mask worn by Michael Myers. So what he did is he took, you probably already know this, he took a Captain Kirk mask. He purchased it for $1.98 from a costume shop on Hollywood Boulevard.
I would have got it cheaper.
How much do you think you got in the mask for?
$1.49.
49. So Carpenter recalled how Wallace, what he did is he took the mask, he widened the eye holes. So the eye holes were a lot smaller. So he cut them out, made them a little bigger.
I would have made him bigger.
Even wider than him. And he spray painted the flesh a bluish white. What would you have done different from that?
Bluer. And wider.
So apparently in the script, it said that Michael Myers' mask had the pale features of a human face.
Okay.
And it truly was spooky looking, John.
I would have
It's
made
one of
him
the most-
paler. I'll stop eventually.
So it is pretty iconic, right? It's one of those things. It you know what I think Carpenter's talked about this, and a lot of people have. It does you do project what you want on it, right? Because there's nothing there.
What do you mean?
Like there's no emotion. Obviously, you don't see the guy's face. There's
Right.
not really anything to the mask.
Right.
It's white.
Until that part of the movie where,
He takes
you
it.
see his face.
You get to see his face, but that's about it, right?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But you get to project whatever emotion you want. It's an emotionless face, right?
Yeah,
But you can project whatever you want on it.
yeah.
That's what makes it work. The film isn't dictating what it wants the audience to feel or see.
Do you think he's like, because he just walks like kind of briskly and sometimes slowly.
Mhm.
Do you think he's like in terrible like cardio shape, or do you think that's
You know
just
what?
part of-
You know what I think? I think what happened is they don't talk about it in the film is while he was there he joined a like they did like an intramural like football team while he was in the psych ward,
Yeah.
and he tore up his knee, and like he had to have like knee knee reconstruction surgery, and it's never been the same since.
Is that what they pay for over there?
Yeah.
Back in the 70s.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they had to do a whole. They scoped out his knee. They scraped off all the the scar. Like it was just bad, John.
Was that thing like Kobe had done?
Yeah, and I think they sent him off to Germany. They did the whole blood thing in Germany. They brought him back.
Been in a centrifuge.
So it's just his knee just hasn't been the same.
Stem cells.
Yeah, and that's why they had to change the rules of their football games.
Right.
That's like
Why do you think they can't kill him?
yeah.
Stem cells.
So, Curtis's wardrobe. Going back to the.
Hormone replacement therapy.
So it was made really cheaply, John. They even purchased all of Jamie Lee Curtis's wardrobe at JCPenney for like $100.
Yeah.
So, very cheap,
Yeah. Okay.
but very effective.
I would have got it for like 50.
So, what is your lasting impression about Halloween, John? Like, what do you love about it?
It's pretty damn good. It's still creepy.
Mm-hmm. It still works, right?
Yeah.
You don't have
Even though
to.
it is funny how you're right, like the acting is not good,
Mm-mm.
but it is like it's creepy. Like there's something creepy about it. It's just like
Well, you forget, right? If you really think, I think because you've seen it so many times, you already know the story. But if you really, if you say the story out loud, it's creepy. There's these 3 young girls, and they're being stalked by this psychopath that they have no idea who he is.
Right.
Like they have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
You know, idea he escaped. That was another genius part, right? There's no news report about this psychopath out there.
right, but there is like a thing in the town where they're like, there's that's the Michael Myers house. Like it's like a thing.
It's a thing, but they have no idea he's out there.
I guess like it's like kind of like an urban legend thing.
Yeah, yeah. But it's been so long since it happened. They have no idea it's gonna something's gonna happen.
Well,
tonight.
it's not really it is an urban legend, but it's not because there's like the cop was like, oh, I was there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, I remember when this happened. Am I thinking of the same thing?
No, I mean everybody remembers that when it happened.
Yeah, like the old people know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying
But it happened so long ago that the kids don't remember it. I mean, the kids
Right.
were
Right.
babies when it happened, you know?
Or-
And then even the little kids like Tommy, the kid that she's
they weren't
babysitting.
babies. They probably weren't born.
They weren't born. That's what I was gonna say. Like the teenagers were probably babies, but the kids weren't even born yet. It happened 15 years prior.
I was gonna say, what
Yeah.
was the original year?
It's like 15 years before.
Okay, so they were like they were like 2, 3.
Goes back to that Dr. Loomis line. It's like I spent the first 7 years trying to get through to him, and the next 8 trying to keep him locked up.
But what did he see in his eyes, man?
Evil. Oh, that was his diagnosis, right?
Yeah, professional medical diagnosis. Evil.
So let's. You know what? You know what? What am
I think
I?
you just like that's easy for like disability. It's like what is it? Evil. It's like- yeah, it's like evil, and then he's got the knee stuff too, right? I guess you probably gotta file an appeal.
For me, one of my favorite parts of the movie is the character Dr. Loomis. He's so ridiculous. He has probably some of the best lines in the movie. Let me read one.
I promise you, my psychiatrist might be worse.
You think so? He has probably one of the worst psychiatrists, right? In movie history.
I hope he's not listening.
In movie history, Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorite lines. This is him talking about Michael Myers. I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. I met the 6-year-old child with his blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized what was living behind the boy's eyes were purely and simply evil.
And then the girl behind the counter was like, "Sir, are you gonna order something or not?"
I love Dr. Loomis. He
Yeah.
is the most.
Oh man.
Hey, another thing came up. I actually heard we were watching the other night. I said, "Where's Dr. Loomis and that nurse coming from? Like they went to go have a drink, right?
I think they're fucking.
You think they're having sex?
I
No,
don't-
I really think they can't because you asked me this question. They had like a pack of little matches on the
little red
dashboard.
matches.
Yeah, from like a bar scene, right? And then
Mhm.
you see those matches again on that truck where Michael killed that guy for that like whatever overall whatever thing that he's wearing, and and Dr. Loomis finds those matches.
He kills for such frivolous reasons.
Michael Myers.
Overalls.
What are they? Whatever. It's like a mechanic's whatever onesie.
Oh, never mind then.
Oh, it's a mechanic's onesie.
Never mind.
What do you call
then.
those? It's a mechanic's onesie, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Not frivolous at all. Worth it.
So that's Halloween, John. No, you know what? You know what I love about it?
What's that?
Obviously, it still works. It's still scary. It doesn't. It's not overly complicated. The if you really look at the plot,
Yeah.
it really, the only thing you can say, like, maybe it's a little too much. And I think I told you this the other day is if I were to remake it, I would cut off that first scene. You know, you don't need to know him murdering.
I think it's kind of creepy.
It is creepy, but like it's not needed. But you know, it's not a bad scene. Like it works. But like
Michael, it's his sister.
Yeah, that's just
That's her big line.
Judith Myers' big line before she dies.
Yeah, it took like 90 cuts.
She just couldn't get it right. And she's like,
Mikey. Remember the Halloween remake with the
oh yeah, Mikey,
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo, Mikey.
No, Mikey.
Oh, Mikey, he killed again, Mikey. That's not good. They're gonna blame me.
Oh man.
Or was it one of your favorite lines, John? Jamie Lee Curtis's lines.
The keys.
You know what? You know it's
The
funny.
keys.
You told me this. Like you as a kid would repeat this, and actually I would always think about it too. When I was looking for my keys, I always think about Jamie Lee Curtis looking for her keys.
That's funny.
The keys.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's
it's a movie that
you know what's interesting too is that when you think of Halloween, you think, oh, it's Michael Myers trying to kill Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
But then you watch the movie, you're like, he's only trying to kill her for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
In the whole movie, it's like 15 minutes.
He's stalking her throughout the whole movie.
No, but I'm saying
though.
as far as like when she's actually first like attacked by him,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 15.
It's
minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like a big slasher movie.
No, and you know what's makes it creepy is the majority of films set during the day.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what Carpenter does so well. He there's so many things going on in the foreground and background. Like he's always there. Like there's very few frames in the film where Michael Myers doesn't exist.
And I think
that's what's creepy
I think
about
we
it.
talked about like he's crazy, but he's like, oh, he's still kind of.
He's not stupid. He's not stupid. Yeah, he's not stupid.
He like
that's
sets
scary.
up all these weird traps.
Yeah, yeah. You know what?
like,
That's one of the things we're noticing.
Little
Yeah.
scenarios where it's like, oh, he locked the door. He opened the window before.
Yeah. He was like planning this ahead. That makes it creepier.
Yeah, and then he was like, hangers, my only weakness. Bullets don't faze me.
Like he puts a rake up against the door after Laurie comes into the house where her friends are dead. Like he
Right.
does that. Like I mean he does it after she gets in. Like
Right.
so he's following her and he's setting up the trap.
Right.
And he sets up all those bodies so elaborately.
I mean that's how I would do it.
And it's funny how he sets up like he's such an elaborate like
it is fun. It is funny when she just finds all her friends. And
well
like,
it's funny
yeah.
he plans ahead, right? He takes his sister's headstone.
Yeah.
You're right?
But I mean we've all been there.
But he's like I'm gonna use this later. I don't know when, but it's gonna come in handy later on.
I mean I got my sister's headstone. She's fine. Got one. Just keep it.
So it almost makes it even creepier, right? Like what's going through his head? Why is he planning this? What is his thinking? He's gonna recreate his sister's the night his sister died. Something snapped in his head, right? The night he killed his sister as a little boy, and now he's trying to recreate that.
Right.
Like he was 7, 9 years old when it happened. Now he's in his 20s, and there's like something still there in his head.
Right.
As he says, like,
But somehow Dr. Loomis knows what it is.
You think he knows?
No. I mean, yeah, but no, how? I mean, apparently he does, but how?
I mean, he knew exactly that he was gonna come back to the.
And he's just telling, like, the one cop in the town.
The guy's not listening to talk. He's like, yeah. But it's funny. The sheriff like goes along with him. Just the
Like,
cop.
there's nothing else to do.
The cop doesn't call the hospital. You never see a scene where the cop like confirms like, is this guy a real doctor? And he just takes his word. Yeah, okay, your ID.
You know,
Like for all he knows, Dr. Loomis is the killer.
You know, it's fun. Yeah. It's funny. What's funny is when he's just like calmly standing in the street and the cop is like, hey, and he's like, he's here. I'm like, oh, you weren't gonna try to call? Or I mean, I know like they didn't have cell phones back then, but it's like, he's here, he's like over there down the street, or he's like in the house or whatever.
Yeah.
Like go that way. But I'm like, dude, like you were just waiting, like just chilling, like hoping he would come by.
Yeah.
You weren't even trying to do anything until the cop got
Until
there.
the comes.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I forgot to tell you. It's weird.
Yeah, it's odd. Yeah. But I guess there's only so much he can do if he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes it creepier too.
It's almost, I don't get it too off topic, but like in the new It movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like we're ruining anything, but yes, the clown kills children.
Yes.
We know that, whether it's part 1 or 2, and like you just go along with the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I go, at what point does the FBI get involved? I go, because there's just all these missing children.
Well, that's the thing, they don't know. That's the
Huh?
whole point. They don't know. Like, people forget.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like, did they just show local cops?
It's magic, John. It's magic.
I'm like, they're just showing like local cops, like, weird.
But you know one of the lasting legacies that Halloween did do is it created a sort of formula for slasher films, right? And one of them being, and you know what? And Carpenter said he didn't do this intentionally, but one of them being is sex is bad in horror movies. If you have sex, you're gonna die. The only person that survives is Laurie Strode, who didn't have sex.
Well, they
And
were
the-
the
and the
first
look, it's-
movies to do it.
Well, it started the legacy. So you see all these 80s slasher films sort of follow that same formula. It's like, oh, people who have sex are the ones who don't survive.
Yeah, and then
But you know, Carpenter wasn't trying to do that on purpose. It's just
then they reinforce it in
like, and then
Scream-
Scream,
Scream.
yeah, brings up the whole like the rules of horror movies. But
which is a great movie.
yeah. But you know, Halloween started all this. Actually, but it wasn't the first film to take the point of view of the killer. You ever seen a movie called Black Christmas?
I've heard of it.
So Black Christmas was directed by a man
Never-
named Bob Clark.
No, what year was that?
Like a few years before Halloween.
Okay.
In the 70s. And it was actually directed by Bob Clark, who went on to direct. Do you know which movie he went on to direct?
Big Mama's House 2.
A Christmas Story.
Really?
Yeah.
So you stayed with the Christmas theme.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually did a bunch of horror movies in the 70s, and then he did and he's most known for A Christmas Story. Black Christmas wasn't a big hit, so, but he's most known for A Christmas Story. So
Nice.
interesting. So yeah, if you watch a Black Christmas, you'll see the point of view that he sort of took that from him. So a little interesting.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
You're gonna shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
Or is it you'll shoot your eye out?
You shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
All right. So John,
What do
Halloween, great. Watch it every year.
Fantastic.
I watch it every Halloween. It is a tradition in my house. I
Yeah.
gather up all the kids. Scooch closer. Kids, let's watch Halloween. Bring out the popcorn.
What's creepy is that Matt doesn't have kids. That's the creepy part.
That's the creepy part.
Mm.
Take out the movie candy. I go.
That's how he gets the kids.
Walgreens has a great deal. $4 for 4
Kids?
boxes of candy.
$4 for kids.
4 boxes of candy for $4, John. Great deal at Walgreens. Walgreens does not sponsor our show, nor do I work for Walgreens, but just gotta endorse that.
You remind me,
It's a great deal.
I have a prescription to pick up from Walgreens.
A great deal.
Not-
So I
that's not a joke.
I usually what I'll do is I'll go to Walgreens. I take John so he can go get his damn prescription. I go to the candy aisle. I pick out all the candies, all the movie candies.
Sorry, but
Some Reese's Pieces.
yeah, we're gonna have to call Dr. Loomis for reauthorization here.
Some Reese's Pieces, some Raisinets, gummy bears,
Yeah, that's all.
M&Ms,
That's all normal.
M&Ms.
All that behavior's normal.
Get some popcorn.
You put popcorn. You put the M&Ms in the popcorn.
Some people do. I don't.
No,
Yeah,
don't do it.
but I can see why people do it. Salty and sweet.
No.
So I bake the popcorn. Keep it separate. I keep it 10 feet away from the chocolate because John would freak out. And I pop in Halloween every Halloween, and that's tradition, John. Halloween, great movie. Still works. Still scary.
No, it really, honestly.
Never grows old. I watched it like 3 times this
You know
month.
what though? I know I'm making fun of it a lot. It's a masterpiece.
Oh, it is a masterpiece. Yeah.
It's fantastic. It
Yeah.
really is one of the best horror movies ever made.
Yes.
In fact, it's like it ages so well, and it's just watch it.